I'd really like you to decide that understanding the other person is important. Conscious decision. I really want to do this. And then listen carefully and ask questions until what the other person is saying makes sense um, to you. Okay? Now remember that listening well does not mean that you have to agree. Okay, you're just trying to understand what it is. And this is where so many people, I think, really struggle when they're listening. They're listening and they're analysing it and they've already got their own opinion organised and they can't wait to actually share that back to the person. But as a coach, your job isn't to have an opinion and then share it back necessarily. We'll talk about that later. Right now, I'm talking about just listening and really understanding where they're coming from. And that means focusing on the moment, on what and how they are saying, not on your opinion of it. Now here's a short story I'd like to read you from a great little coaching book called The Tao of Coaching by Max Landsberg. And again, this is in your reference material, and I'd encourage you to get hold of it if you can. Now this scenario is where Alex, the manager, is learning how to coach, and he's trying to connect with a staff member named Angus, and he suddenly realizes why it's not going so well. Now in the Tao of Coaching, Max Landsberg, I referred to this last week, it follows a story with a hero called Alex. And Alex makes a discovery about empathy, and let me just read this short snippet. And here's the slides that go with that. As he was jotting down his thoughts, Alex suddenly remembered a simple idea. And that was that you could look at a relationship in terms of an emotional bank account, of how much credit or debit of goodwill existed between the two people. With strangers, there might be no store of goodwill, and trust is perhaps therefore low. Now, Alex realised that his emotional bank account with his colleague Angus was probably overdrawn. Alex had recently made some last-minute requests of the team, which had made for some very long hours at work. He also recalled that Angus's father, who lived 3 hours away, was very unwell, and the weekend work made visits very difficult for Angus. He also realised that he didn't know very much about Angus's aspirations for himself. It now seemed obvious to Alex that the problem lay not so much in his own lack of skill as a coach, but rather in his lack of any real relationship with Angus. And Alex suddenly knew what to do. He found out more about Angus by reading through his last annual appraisal. He made sure that Angus could get home on the following weekend, and he persuaded Angus to go out for a quick drink with him, during which Alex shared insights to his own career and the company. And he then listened carefully to Angus's descriptions of his previous company and to his fears and aspirations for the job that he was in now. When Alex felt that the moment was right, he asked Angus how he would like to receive feedback or guidance in the future. That's informal on-the-job feedback, not the kind that ends up in personnel files. And with a more open and trusting relationship, it was easy for Angus to ask for the support and help that he really needed. So Alex reflected that perhaps the foundation of all successful coaching is an open, trusting relationship with a healthy reservoir of goodwill on both sides. Okay, I hope you've chosen someone to practice your coaching with who you have some goodwill already established with, who is open to trusting you, someone with whom you can succeed. And know that over the next few weeks, the more you develop that trust, the more aligned you will become with where they want to go and what they want to achieve.